name's Duvian Montoya, painter from Norwalk. I want to say thank you, Dennis, for having me a part of this show amongst these great artists that I've known for a long time. I'm a Norwalk native and proud to be here. This work is based on my struggle with social media and the life that I'm perceiving on social media, and how it has this sort of two-dimensional side to it. It's not the true sense of who I am, who we are on social media. And it's just been a way for me to tackle it. And it started with me representing catalog pages that come to my doorstep on a regular basis. And how I felt these catalog pages were these beautiful, well-illustrated, well-composed pages of items that are sold to you. And at first, I thought they were beautiful. But as I started reproducing these pages, I felt that there was no soul in it. There was no soul in the pages. There's no real sense of the human in it. And as I was doing it, this whole world of social media really started bugging me. And when do I post? How should I post? What should I post about? What's right? What's wrong? Should I put my family in it? And that's where it started just really affecting me, and how I get sucked into it. Because I will post something and I will get sucked in. Like, who's liking it? Who's sharing? Who's commenting? And it's this constant battle. And as an artist, I don't want to be doing that. I want to be painting. And so this was my way of sort of battling that torture of social media, which is essential to being an artist. Because without that social media page that we create, and that's why the work is called Created Pages, we create these images of ourselves, this life story of ourselves that is, again, two-dimensional. And that's why the figures are just two-dimensional compared to the rest of the scene in the painting. Also, the natural element in the paintings are sort of whited out, sort of white negative space. Again, the natural, unnatural world that we're living in. So that's where the work comes from, and sort of it's just that constant struggle I have with social media, and that disconnect that we all have between each other when we're on these phones, on these devices. Yes, it connects us, but we're sort of, I feel like we're missing moments around us, because we're always filming, we're always photographing, we're always sharing, and again, wondering what's going to happen once we put it out there. What kind of life does that have? And so again, that's a struggle I have, and I think it probably started when I had my kids. My kids are 2 and 4 now, and I am living indoors more. You know, I'm more isolated. So again, I'm dependent on social media to keep up with friends, because I can't socialize as much. But again, it's that double-edged sword that I'm constantly battling. And so this is part of a larger series I've done called The Created Pages. I started doing this sort of small scale with drawings, and then I do a watercolor, gouache, and then I go into the large scale paintings. And again, that's because of the kids, where my work was highly affected by them. And I've only had 2-3 hours of work time to be able to focus on the work. And it was something that I could start and stop fairly quickly. And with the oil paintings, I probably have, I think, 4 or 5 of this series done. Of the drawings, I have about 10 or 11. And that's because the paintings, I need 8-10 hours a day for 3 to 4 days. And I don't get that as much anymore. So that's why I started working with the smaller works. And I work with an artist called Robert Cottingham, who works the same way, and he was a big influence sort of the new way I'm working, and the way it helps to develop the piece. Little subtle changes too, from what's on the table, the statement that I'm trying to say on the table, to the figures and sort of the right positioning. Everything is a little tweaked from the drawing, the watercolor, to the oil painting. Okay. Yes.
First, I'm a huge fan of your work. I'm also familiar with your landscapes. So how much does symbolism play into landscapes as well as the figurative?
Are you referring to the newer landscapes I'm doing? The newer stuff is, my work tends to be socially conscious, work where I am dealing with sort of uncontrolled news that's out there. And I felt like the new landscapes was more of this just quieting it down for me and focusing on just the work and color, composition. And the landscapes have sort of the white negative space and the pencil marks in it because I'm just playing. I'm having fun with this new stuff. And it's totally different than this, and then from the murals I do, from the more socially conscious type of work, just because there's too much to comment about right now, and I feel like I cannot keep up. Yes, back in the way back. Sorry.
I love this piece, and I'm wondering what's the piece within the piece hanging behind the couch. I love the actual piece, but I'm curious about that piece. Well, it looks a little hyper real, and like it looks like there's. It's a little bit. It's
this constant struggle that we're doing, climbing the wall that we create for ourselves.
Is that one of your pieces too?
It's not. But what I am doing, I'm going into friends, people's homes, and painting their interiors and them in their interiors, because again, it's giving that sense of who they are that we don't tend to share with everybody because we edit it out. But it does tell a lot about the individual, because of the created space that we create at our homes. Yes?
I have a kind of commentary. As an artist and art teacher, I'm so excited about your work because I'm already thinking about how I could lead with your work and then at the same token describe Van Eyck paintings and really connect this contemporary take on symbolic representation and the storytelling of that, and see how we can then go back hundreds of years and make those connections. But I feel like your work really embodies that, and it really is so contemporary, and it's really exciting to bring students around to really learn about how artists make these pieces and how looking at the cell phones and seeing all that, it's so much deeper than that, and that you're creating this commentary, social commentary of the time period.
Right.
And I'm really just enjoying that so much.
Thank you. And it's interesting because I think people are drawn to the work, but it's hard for people to swallow sometimes because it is so real, so now, that they sort of, when it comes to selling the work, it's a harder sell because of that, because it's a little too real. My work tends to work like that, where I'll paint sort of what's around my current day, but it takes a little time to get people on board on the purchasing aspect of the work. It's always a struggle for an artist, but I think when it comes with a social comment, it's a little harder to swallow. And Van Dyke, that's going way back, but I have work that's referencing Rockwell paintings, or sort of like being thankful that they're at the dining room table, but instead everybody's waiting for the food. Everybody's again on their devices, and so yes.
I'm glad he asked about the painting because I was going to ask about that, and I also noticed that it's kind of whited out like everything else with life. Mm-hmm. Like it feels like everything with life is whited out. So I was wondering if you, because it's art on the walls and you're an artist, you perceived it as something living and you whited out intentionally the way that you did everything that's living.
The works I've done in the past of this similar style, I have whited out the canvases, just because it is very personal. And living with work, it should be personal. You know, you got to gravitate to it and have conversations about it, and that's what work should do.
And is the shape intentionally like an Instagram app?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's the new creative canvas out there too. It's like they say that painting is dying, and I almost feel like sometimes it is because everybody's so focused on the digital world now. And that is the new digital world, which is this square format. Yes?
I was wondering if there's a key to the letters you have sort of nestled in there.
Everybody asks, but no, I'm just referencing sort of the catalog pages and how life is sort of sold to you. But in this one, I did end up making the word curated, so it does spell out curated from left to right. Well, and that's why I had to get away from the social commentary stuff, because it stops me from being creative or to working, because I get too focused on those little details.
One last question.
I was going to comment. I just love the concept of the life getting sucked out of the people, and they're white. They're like ghosts, and they're getting sucked out through those electronic devices. It's very cool.
Yeah, and again, it's that lack of sort of connection, the real physical connection between people that I sort of miss. And granted, it's my fault too, because again, I have kids, and we all sort of get consumed by life, but. It's just, I guess it's more of a commentary about the love for people that I have that I sort of want to hold on to. And this is sort of a detachment to that.